This learning is Le'ili Nishmas Broya Bas Chananya, Maseches Sheviis, Perek Yud Mishnah Hey. Prusbul Hamugdam Kosher. An early Prusbul is kosher. So if a person wrote a Prusbul in the month of Nisan and they dated it with the month of Kislev, it's going to be kosher. And the reason is because they're only allowing themselves to collect from less loans than what they should be allowed to collect from. Because since the date on the Prusbul is Kislev, it means that the Prusbul only works for the loans that were before Kislev. However, the loans that happened after Kislev, including those that happened between Kislev and Nisan, the person can't collect from because there's no Prusbul written for them. So therefore it's kosher. V'amo ucher pasel, and a late Prusbul is pasel. So for example, if a person wrote a Prusbul in the month of Kislev and they dated it with the month of Nisan, so it's going to be pasel. And the reason is because the person is now allowing themselves to collect from more loans than they should be allowed to collect from. Because since the date on the Prusbul is Nisan, it means that the Prusbul is written for all loans up to Nisan, when in truth it was only written in Kislev and should only work for the loans that were up to Kislev. The Mishnah now continues and teaches that the opposite is true by loan documents, that shitrei choiv hamugdamim psulim, early loan documents are puzzle. So for example, if a person wrote a loan document in the month of Nisan and they dated it with the month of Kislev, it's going to be puzzle. And the reason is because the lender could collect from any property that the borrower had at the time of the loan, even if the borrower later sold it. And so now the lender is going to be able to collect from more properties than he should be able to collect from. Because now he can collect from any property that the borrower sold between Kislev and Nisan, and he shouldn't be able to, since the loan only happened in Nisan. And a late loan document is kosher. So for example, if the loan document was written in Kislev and it was dated with Nisan, it's going to be kosher. And the reason is because this doesn't allow the lender to collect from more properties of the borrower than he should be allowed to collect from, but rather it allows him to collect from less properties of the borrower that he should be allowed to collect from. Because any property that was sold between Kislev and Nisan, the lender really should be able to collect from, but now he's not able to because the date on the loan document is Nisan, making it that the lender could only collect from properties that the borrower had after Nisan. The Mishnah now continues and teaches that the Prusbul goes by the lender and not by the borrower. And the Mishnah explains, Echad loive mechamisha, if one person borrowed from 5 people, so kaisav Prusbul ochol echad ve'echad, each and every one of the lenders needs a Prusbul, since the Prusbul is to allow the lender to collect. And so since there are 5 lenders here, each of them needs a Prusbul. However, chamisha loivin me'echad, if 5 people borrowed from one person, then ain't a case of ela Prusbul echad lekulam. He only writes one Prusbul for all of them. Since there's only one lender and the Prusbul is for the lender, so this case only needs one Prusbul.